Hi, welcome to Beav Art Talks, and this is the fourth episode. And if you haven't listened to before, I've spoken to Barry J. Davis and Lucy Mitchell and Richard Tate. So they're all on Spotify and YouTube, available now to listen at your own pleasure. And today I'm with Ellie Pompili, an Italian artist, a multidisciplinary artist in design, print and photography. Studied at Royal College of Arts in London. Set up workshops in Brighton called the Brighton Art Social Club. Based in London and Brighton. And her kind of art is recently focused on the female body, and we've both exhibited at Conclave Gallery in the past, and somehow we've never really met until now. So welcome to the show, Ellie.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming on.
It's so nice to meet for the first time in real life as well.
It's so weird as well. And Brighton's such a small place
Exactly.
that you would just expect to see each other anyway.
Yeah, true.
But I think we've kind of crossed paths but not actually met each other on exhibitions.
We've seen each other's work on the wall, I think,
good point,
many times. Yeah,
good point. So would you like to kind of explain a little bit about your practice or what you're up to now?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, you gave me like a really good introduction, I think. I'm a disciplinary artist, and I work in a design and print studio now. So I do lots of light designer and printing, working with reprographics, photo editing. But then in my own time, I like to work on my practice, which is a lot more focused on photography now. It wasn't really before, now it is.
Right.
And yeah, I just finished my master's at the RCA, as you said, and I worked for my master's on this project around the female body, the female figure. So like, I think in the past year or two, my work has been very focused around that. I have enjoyed like taking pictures of like other things as well, especially when I was on holiday. But I think my most like sort of like main topic has always been the female figure. And yeah, I guess right now I just got this job in this design and print studio, so I'm sort of like navigating, finding my new routine between my job, my side job, let's say, my art. So yeah, this is what I'm kind of like doing now, I think.
And how comes you've been focused on the female body? When did that come into play? Was that from film or from art?
No, I think it started like way earlier. I just like never really noticed it, I guess, because like in my first year of uni I did my BA at Brighton in illustration,
right? And
like at the end of the first year you sort of had like the last project, which is your personal project, and you can just literally pick whatever you want. You can do whatever you want for like about a month, and I decided to take photographs of female mannequins. And
right.
Like I just decided, I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna take photographs of lots of mannequins in like, you know, different settings in houses. So I went to lots of like car boot sales, got to lots of like parts of mannequins, or I already had some at home as well. And I didn't really question why I had it, I think, until when I actually did the project, because then my tutors, when I was like, I brought in like the works that I'd done so far, and they were sort of like, so why these female mannequins, you know, like why the mannequins, why females, you know, what goes on there? And I don't know, I just always had this sort of like fascination maybe towards the female figure.
Okay.
Not because there's like a specific like sexual attraction to it. I just find it like aesthetically, I just find it very pleasing, I guess, to look at in terms of literally just like aesthetics and like the look. And then from there, it sort of like evolved from mannequins. I was like, you know, it's great to take pictures of mannequins. I really like it, even to like take pictures of mannequins in shop windows, especially, or abandoned, like closed down shops where they have like parts of the bodies just sort of like laying there. But then it became really difficult because I was like, you know, like either I always use the same mannequins or I need to source new mannequins, and believe it or not, they're really expensive to buy. So, and they're difficult to find as well.
Okay.
So from then,
I didn't
there, I
realise they
sort
were
of like
so
moved.
niche.
Trust me, yeah, there's a whole business about that as well.
my
There's
gosh.
like mannequins from the 60s that are like really expensive as well, like vintage sort of like mannequins, like, and if they are in like a different position, like some of them will be like sitting sort of like this, some of them are standing like that.
Right.
So depending on that, there was also like a different price. So then it sort of like evolved from there into like, actually, I could just ask my friends to just pose for me, and that would be cheaper, maybe easier as well, because then I don't have to like go around and like try and find mannequins.
Fair enough.
So it kind of like evolved like that, let's say.
Do you have quite a lot at home then?
I do.
Serious? Oh my god.
No, okay. No, define it quite a lot. It's like,
What, 5?
I do. No, okay. I have body parts. So like I have these legs.
People worried about you.
Right. If you go on my Instagram, actually, there's a picture, because
Okay.
I did an art fair in London, and I had my photographs exhibited on the wall, and then to use as like a stand to put my business cards, I had this like mannequin legs, and then I did a little tabletop and a little stand.
I thought it was part of the thing.
Yeah. So no, that's mine. So now
Amazing.
It's in my
That's
bedroom.
really good.
Now it's in my bedroom.
That's a good
So
table.
So I've got that, and then I've got like a few hands like here and there, because like I eventually want to make them into like door handles as well. So it's
Coat hangers, or not? What's it, like a coat hook or?
yeah, like kind of like
Yeah,
that.
that's really cool.
Yeah. So see, it doesn't have to be weird all the time.
No, I like that.
But
idea.
but I think my housemates got a little bit worried, so they asked me to like put them under the stairs in the sort of like storage area, and
You're
just
creeping them out.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When I remember once when I used to work at this pop-up shop called One Stop Promotion, and I remember the owner of the place said to me, "Can you put the mannequin in the basement, because we don't need it. We're changing the shop display around." And I'd only worked there I think it was just like a student job thing to do it for a bit. I only worked there for a month or so, and I put it into the basement, but I kind of. The door to the basement was quite stiff. You had to kind of kick it to open it. And I put it strategically placed so that when you open the door, you see the mannequin. And I remember, and that was the last thing I did before I left. And then I came in the next day and everybody was laughing so much. And they were like, the manager went down there after you'd put it in because he needed a guest egg. And we all heard him scream.
I mean, they are quite scary. That's so uncanny, you know. It's like they're
So
quite
uncomfortable.
I could see why some people would like be like a bit creeped out, you know. Yeah. But again, depends what you make out of it. Because if you put it in a basement like that, you're gonna scare someone. If you use it as something, as a sculpture or something, then you won't. So
good point.
Depends on the use.
Surely. Like you could use them for an exhibition, like the whole thing. Like,
I would love to. I think I would love to.
Like a body parts exhibition or something.
Yeah, so much. Even just to have maybe like a mix of, you know, like pictures of like body parts. You know, like imagine like you've got a wall, you've got like a picture of like a someone's arm, right?
Yeah.
On like a white background. And then straight after the arm, there's like the bust of a mannequin, and then the picture of someone's leg. So it kind of like makes like a whole body, but actually like made up of like photographs of a real body and then parts of a mannequin.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool. It'd be a really cool
weird,
idea.
Creepy maybe, but yeah.
I think it could work. It could be a good idea.
I could see that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Totally.
So is there like any sort of dream exhibition that you really want to do? Is it that type of thing, or is there something that you kind of have an idea for, but you've just not figured out how to do it yet?
I feel like there's like a lot. There's like lots and lots of them. But I think for now, the one that I really want to do is I kind of like focused in the past kind of year, just coming out from my master's, because that's where I focused on during my master's.
Mm-hmm.
So I made this book called The Space Between Looking.
Let's have a look.
Which is there.
So for the benefit of people listening and not on video, Ellie has brought in a book of her work called The Space Between Looking.
And it's, I did it. That was like the outcome of my master's degree. And like in the book, I sort of like explored basically this, I call it like the triangle of looking, because you've got the person photographing, you've got the person being photographed and the person looking at the photographs. So you create this sort of like power, some people call it dynamic, or this sort of like looking dynamic, and that's sort of like what I explore in the book and how that relates to my experience of looking and of making work in general, really. But yeah, so I think coming out of that, I would like to keeping on exploring that concept in a bigger exhibition. So my idea has been to sort of like organize this kind of like workshop / performance, live performance thing, where you have like a big room, people sort of like queue up, and they get into the room, they're given like a disposable camera, and they can just go around. There'll be objects in the room, there'll be people, maybe just like, sitting, and you have like, let's say, I don't know, 10 minutes, you can take 10 photographs at a time, and you go around and you sort of like photograph what captures your attention, and then sort of like get all the pictures together and then examine it and see what comes out, like what are people looking at, why are they looking at that, why are they looking at it in that way.
Really good. So you're making their vision of what they see at the exhibition, the experience, the whole exhibition.
So kind of like
clever.
an immersive exhibition, maybe. So I
That's
think
really
like,
clever.
when I was talking to my tutors about it, they were like, this sounds like a great PhD project. And I was like, yeah, it does, but a PhD is intense, so we'll see. But
I think there's something there.
There's definitely something there. I think that's been on top of my list. But then there's been lots of like other ideas, just like the ones I said, like maybe having an exhibition about just like the body in general. But I feel like that's more focused on what you want to show to the audience, rather the other one is more about like the actual audience experience, which is quite interesting and intriguing to me as well as just my own work, basically.
That's clever. I like that. You've kind of touched on mannequins and photography. What other kind of mediums or practices do you do in your
I feel like now, in the past few years, it's literally been photography. But then I have lots of sketchbooks at home that I used to draw a lot more before I went to my master's, especially like before my third year of uni, I used to draw a lot, and now I usually keep that to sort of like unwind. So I have sketchbooks. I have like piles and piles of sketchbooks that I take if I go, let's say, if I go to London for the day, and then I have like some time on the train, or I sit in a cafe and just have like a coffee, and I would just like be observing and just like drawing people like sitting at a table, like walking. Or if I go like traveling somewhere, then I would bring my sketchbook with me, write down maybe like a sentence, or maybe like I even like see a word on like a poster and I'm like, that sounds like a really cool word, even if it's not in English or any other language, I would just like write it down. So yeah, I feel like that is not really something that I see as an outcome.
Right.
It's not really something that I'll be like, well, I have an exhibition of my little like sketches, but they're definitely like part of my practice still, because it kind of like it's in those moments that I have these ideas, because maybe I look at like this person sipping a wine at the table and I'm just there like, looking at them and like drawing, maybe sipping my own wine, and then I'm like, oh, they're like in this position, or they're wearing this specific thing, and I'm like, actually, it could be really cool if I took a picture of someone doing this position but wearing this other thing, and then I would just like make some little notes that then I would revisit like later.
So you're looking for the angle and something that'll grab your attention.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy people watching them?
I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I love people watching.
Is that a good pastime for you?
I don't know why people wouldn't enjoy it. It's just I sit there and I love like, especially in the airports, I love like going to the airport. You get to the gate a little bit early and just like sit there, or like you get a little coffee and just like sit there and just watch people. There's like people running everywhere. There's people like saying hi, people like hugging, people crying. There's just people sleeping. There's so much going on.
It's like an insight, a little snippet of their life.
Yeah. And in a way, it's like you're looking at them and you make up all these stories in your head, and it's kind of like entertaining in a way, Yeah. But I think I just also...
It's a film reel in itself, isn't it?
It is, and I just love just people watching, even in town or something, just because I'm just so like interested, I think, in seeing like people's like, I don't know, like taste in what they wear, how they walk, how they run, what facial expressions they do, you know. It's just really, I don't know, there's just something that I just love to be there. But then obviously I always have to wear sunglasses because otherwise you would see me like this, like staring at you, and I'd be like, what's this person doing?
What's that woman doing?
Yeah, why is she staring at me?
So no, that's cool. Do you get to do it much at the moment, or
what's that? Sorry.
Do you get to do sketches still now, or not?
It's so like I feel like now, like it's like, I mean, there's a bit of like cliche, but like the older you get, the less free time you have, and I think everyone can like agree on that. So like I remember like being young and just being like, this afternoon I'm gonna go to a cafe and just have a tea and just draw my sketchbook. I don't have that luxury anymore, but I do travel quite a lot, so like I'll definitely bring the sketchbook with me and then do that when I'm on holiday, in a way.
Because you spend a lot of time on the plane. Have you done sketches on the plane? I
have, but then that gets a bit like tricky, because then, you know, you do like a little drawing of this person sleeping, and then they wake up and they realize that you were like staring at them and draw them, and you're like,
what are you doing?
Sorry. But that is nice, because then you got like people like sitting next to you. They're like, "Oh, that's a really nice drawing." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." But then also I'm like, "But this is my sketchbook. I don't want you to look at it." You know, it's like it's my thing.
Is there any like art pieces that you've done that mean the most to you, and why?
Oh my God, this is
sorry, don't worry if that's put you on the spot.
No. It's like that's so many of them in a way.
Oh, really?
I feel like so many photographs, but like it could also be like works that it could literally just be, for me, it could be just like I walked here today and I saw something and I took a picture of it. That could mean so much more than a picture that I put in my book. In a way, it's like it really depends, I guess, on like how I feel in that moment that I took that picture. But I think. So
you're saying like it means so much more at that time rather than later on, because then that's
because, you know, like you take moment. Like even like this, right? So I've got the book, and in the book there's a lot of like pictures that I've taken, and I'm like, yeah, they're like really great pictures, and I look at them now, I'm like, they're really great work, and I could see them like in an exhibition, I could see them in like, you know, an open call to like get me some jobs or whatever. But at the same time I'm like, I feel like I look at them now and I'm like, yeah, okay, it's great. And maybe when I took the pictures were really nice, but now it's just like the meaning has changed, and I'm not too sure if like what I felt in that moment is like, it still relates now. And I look at it, I'm like, I've taken so many better pictures like after that. So
that's the problem as an artist, though, because you always feel like your next work's going to be better.
Yeah, and it's like, for me, it's like same as like, you know, when you say like, how can you tell that like an artwork is finished? You can't tell, because like you look at it like, okay, yeah, I'm done, and then you go back to it tomorrow and like, no, actually I need to add something, I need to change something.
You can always pick the faults out.
Yeah, so it's like the same with like how like can you pick and have like it's like when you say who's your favorite artist, yeah, you have some, but like if you asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have been like Roy Lichtenstein is like my top artist.
I knew that because I was into Roy Lichtenstein at college as well, purely because it mixes in with the B-movie comic book sort of stuff. And because you went down the route with Roy Lichtenstein, because I saw some of your work that you exhibited at Conclave, and that was more of the, you know, with the damsel in distress sort of thing, on the end of a telephone call with the speech bubble, never again, or you know, this sort of stuff.
Exactly.
And Roy Lichtenstein did all that.
Exactly, yeah.
And I was the other stuff where, you know, with the plane on fire. Wham!
The wham!
Yeah,
the
and I remember doing a leaflet for a museum, like as a project, and I was like, yeah, I can have that as the main thing. So you open it up and it spreads out to the whole bigger picture, sort of thing. But in a way, yeah, I mean, I'm inspired by Roy Lichtenstein, and there's so much scope there.
But you see, but then it's like that was, you know, like obviously you could have that inspiration like your whole life, obviously. But like if you ask me that question now, I'm like, yeah, Roy Lichtenstein, it's been an influence for sure, but like I don't think he's my favorite artist anymore, you know, like it's like with music, it's like, what's your favorite music? I don't know, like right now I love jazz, but maybe in a week time I'll tell you that classical music is my favorite music. So it just really depends on like how you're feeling in that spot. Yeah, in that moment in your life, you know.
Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any strange and weird feedback from exhibiting or from stuff that you've completed through, you know, doing your masters? And
I think I wouldn't say that's strange, but like different maybe. I don't know. Like we had during my masters, we had this like during the first like term, we kind of have this collaborative like group, like whole class project. So we were divided into 4 different groups, and you basically had to show. We had like one date all together,
right.
and you had to show what your work was about, but without like images. So without actually, you know, like having a little video or like a photograph or a drawing, but you had to use different ways to sort of like express and exhibit your work. So I was like, well, I don't know what to do. And like, because at the time I was like, really, I did lots of like feminist like theories, like readings and stuff. And I was like, I'm interested in these readings, but also like, I don't like the word feminist. I just have like, I don't know, I feel like it should be another kind of like word. So I made this like tart that said, I am not, in brackets, a feminist. And I show it there, and we had our tutors, and then there was like guest lecturers, and then there was this guest lecturer whose name I don't actually remember, but he's like apparently really big in graphic design. He's like a huge graphic designer. And he got the microphone at the end of the day, like saying, you know, like, oh, everyone has like, you've done really well, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, I have to congratulate the person who's done the tart, because that's like the best typography that I've ever seen so far. But I was just there, I was like, that's like such a random feedback, because I was like, I was going for, you know, like the actual concept in a way of the cake, because, you know, it's like tart and like patriarchy and like women cooking and all of that, and then he just complimented me on the typography, and I was just like, it was like, who started it? I was like, me. It was like, that was great, fantastic. And I was like, well, I'm not even a graphic designer, so it's just like crazy.
Obviously, you've got an eye for it.
Oh, that clearly, yeah, apparently. I was like, yeah, well, that's because I like baking, maybe. I don't know, but you know. So yeah, that's definitely one of them. But other than that, I don't know. Like sometimes you would have like people just sort of like comment, especially in uni. I feel like it always happens in uni, because like, in a way, like everyone feels like they can't just like describe your work just saying like, oh yeah, I like it, it's nice.
Yeah.
Because like in uni especially, that like you shouldn't say it's nice. You should use like a different term, you know. So then people would just use all these like intricate like words, and like that you just like, I don't even know what it means, but I guess thanks. Is it a compliment? I don't know, but
it's mysterious.
It's mysterious, you know. Yeah, it's mysterious. But yeah.
But that's cool though. I mean, you still got even though it wasn't what you wanted to.
That was great. I was just like, right, okay, maybe I should be a graphic designer now. I'm like, no, I should write on like tarts a bit more often. I don't know.
Yeah, worth trying.
You know, worth trying. Yeah, true.
So, if you could collaborate with anybody, alive or dead, if there was any artists in the world, is there anyone? There's
like a few of them. I feel like there's a female photographer who's not alive anymore. Her name is Francesca Woodman. She actually died quite young. I think she was like late 20s maybe. Really? But she was like committed suicide. Pretty sad. A bit of like a sad story, but she did amazing work, and it's actually such a shame, because like she had this like really, really rich and intense life in terms of like photography. She did so much work. She experimented a lot with her body, and with like film camera and Polaroids especially. And she died quite young, and during her lifetime, she wasn't really recognized as a photographer, and everyone sort of like discovered her like when she passed away. And now there was like massive exhibitions of her in like London and in Vienna as well. So I think I would definitely want to collaborate with her, because I feel like what I do is very like similar. Like experimenting with the body, with your own body, or like with the one of like models, and then
so you're doing like a modern version of what she was
in a way, or even carrying on, you know, like revisiting her ideas, and sort of like, you know, like, because she did her work in like the 60s, and it's like, well, what if I do the same work now, obviously, because society and like views have changed so much, like, does it still have the same meaning? Is it still perceived in the same way, you know? So quite interesting. And then I don't know, I'm like torn between two. I would say I love Marina Abramovic,
Okay, and what does she
the
do?
performance artist. Really, she's like, yeah, I don't know, sometimes I'm like, she's crazy, but like crazy in a great way. That she's doing these like live performances. Like, I think she did one where she was, like in a room. I might be wrong, but I think it was something like she was in a room and with like full of men, and it was like you can do whatever you want to her for like half an hour, like an hour, and people were going there. There was people like with like a knife, sort of like cutting in her skin, or like people just like touching her, just like yeah,
Serious?
crazy. But like I feel like yeah, she's got these crazy views sometimes that I would be that they look
You,
adventurous as well, and
I don't know if
I
you've
like
heard of
it.
her, but you probably have. But Amanda Palmer, who's a musician, but she used to be a
No, I
street
haven't heard of
performer,
her. Okay.
and she's done stuff like that where she'd have her fans like from her. She's was in a band called Dresden Dolls, and then
Mm-hmm.
she did her own stuff for Amanda Palmer. She released a book of just photos of her pretending to be dead, and it was Who Killed Amanda Palmer,
Oh my
and
God.
you'd love it. I think it's just like all these different photos of her and different things. But she'd done a thing like that
It's
where
really interesting because
yeah.
you think like surely like no one would like hurt her, or like people would just be there like maybe trying to talk to her or something, and there was literally like people going with like a rose with like the spikes of the rose just on her skin. It was just, and you were like, what goes on in
That's
like
their
people's
go-to.
mind? Yeah, like
Is that their first thing that they think?
really
Right, I'll
really
do
crazy.
that.
Yeah, so yeah,
I'm saying that's weird.
it's crazy if you think about it. Yeah.
For somebody who is that open for anyone to do whatever they want, surely you'd want to pick their brain a little bit.
Yeah, but well, she also did another one years ago. Maybe it was like I want to say 70s or maybe later. No, maybe 80s. I don't remember. But yeah, so she was. It was like this room leading to another. Well, sorry, it was like a museum room, and to enter the room, basically there was like this very like narrow door,
Mm-hmm.
and on the door she would be. It was her naked on one side of the door, and then on the other side of the door it was her partner naked,
Right.
and then everything was recorded, and everything was about like the whole performance was about like when you walk through the door, because it's so narrow and you have to walk between these two like bodies.
I think I've
Who
seen
are you
that.
gonna are
Yeah.
you gonna turn like towards her, or are you gonna
Yeah.
turn towards him? Who are you gonna look in the eyes while they're naked when you walk
That's
into the door?
yeah. That's
So
a pushing boundaries, isn't it?
yeah, I
So
think this is why she's very provocative, and yeah, it really makes you sort of like
did they do,
question.
did they do like a kind of count of what was the main thing that people would do?
I think there was something like that. I don't remember it now, but it was definitely like a lot into it. Yeah, really, really, really crazy. I think sometimes I look at her work, and sometimes I'm like, how did she even come up with it? And it's just
Yeah.
like crazy. Yeah,
That's amazing.
crazy interesting. Yeah,
But then this is why, it's no one's done that, so why not?
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, what kind of dream project would you have? I know we've kind of like gone on for like who you'd collaborate with,
Mm-hmm.
but what sort of dream project would you love to be commissioned to do, or if
Dream.
somebody was if you were given the funding to do it?
Yeah, I think if I was given the funding to do it, I would still like to work with like people, as in like again like in the book in my master's project I collaborated quite a lot with models, because I feel like before that I used to work a lot with self-portrait,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like easy, you don't have to rely on anyone else. You have an idea in your mind, and you sort of like go for it. You already know how to sort of like position yourself, how you want to take the photograph. It's like quicker and easier. But I think working with models and with friends, or even like strangers, asking them to model for you, it was really interesting. It sort of like created a different dynamic, and it created sort of like an extra layer to the final work that I just found it like really, really interesting. So I think I would still want to do something with like the community. Maybe put like an open call out there, just asking people who are comfortable being in front of the camera, or even if they're not, and it's their first time and they just want to try it. And I would just like get them in, and I would just maybe record the session, and just be in a room, like we chat, and then I take like one or two like Polaroids of them,
Mm-hmm.
and then just put them on a wall, and maybe just like have like a full wall of all these Polaroids, and then on the other side have like sort of like text or like notes that I've taken through like what they've told me about their lives, or what they decided to tell me about. Because it could also be like you walk in and you're like, tell me something. which could be, you know, like, oh, I don't know, I had an argument with my best friend because like of this reason, or it could be like I really want to get a promotion at work and I don't know how to do it. You know, like literally anything.
It's like capturing so many different moments in everyone's lives in that moment of time.
Yeah.
It could be a beautiful exhibition.
Yeah, or even, you know, just like having a little collection of all the photographs in the book and just have the picture and what they decided to tell me in that moment, you know. And it could be, you know, you could be lying. You could be like, I don't know, I decided to come here because I want to be a model and I just wanted to be in front of a camera again because I love it. But maybe it's not true. Maybe you've never been a model and you just decided to tell me that in that moment. I don't know. It's
they could have been. They may not have been telling you the truth. You know, might be,
but like, I don't know. I don't know you, so.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's
so
really
I think
good idea.
definitely something with photography, but also in a way like writing down like notes. Maybe could be also taking sketches and with like others. Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely like a people person. So as much as I love like working alone, I feel like I do enjoy working with others as well. And sometimes they like because if you just work on your own and always like photographing myself, you just sort of like go down like a tunnel and you just see your vision, you know. But when you have other people in your work, then it's sort of like they bring in their perspective or their experience, and that sort of like makes you like shift maybe what you think, and you're like, actually maybe it's not this way, but it's this other way, or it could be this other way as well, you know. So
it's weird because like when I talk to other artists, and I love that because when you talk to other people, you end up without knowing at the time something kind of sits in your brain when you've discussed about certain pieces, and then all of a sudden you're kind of improving your practice because of you're thinking, I don't want to get stuck in that same rut of just producing meaningless pap.
Yeah.
And then you want to be creating something that has meaning and purpose and something that's going to stand the test of time.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, 100%. It's got I see it like, you know, like getting inspiration in a way, because like you're like you're a painter and you paint landscapes, right? But if you just stay in your house and just paint landscapes, and great, you know, maybe you sell them and people buy them, whatever, you have exhibitions, but like you're just painting landscapes and that's it. But if you go out there and you visit, I don't know, like the French countryside, the Spanish countryside, and whatever countryside, then you get more inspiration and you paint more and more landscapes, and they can maybe they make you think like, actually I want to paint a little like animal in the landscape, you know, like I don't know. So it's like being around people and just like listening to them and listening to their experiences sort of like brings inspiration for me as well, because then I listen to the stories and I'm like, oh, it would be actually really nice to do something like this, like based on what they told me, you know.
Interesting. Yeah, because you can't just sit in one place and be an artist. You have there's so much artist, to inspire you as well.
And I, you know, even Roy Lichtenstein, for example, you know, he started off like doing all the comics and stuff, and then he went into sculpture and he was making these amazing sculptures. You know, like he didn't just like stick to just one thing and be like, I'm a painter, so I'm just gonna be a painter, you know.
But
like,
isn't it weird that he's known for the painting?
He's not. I know.
And that's that's the kind of gateway into his work, isn't it?
It is. But it's same as Picasso. Picasso was a sculptor as well. But like most people remember him for his paintings, obviously.
Yeah.
But
and then Michelangelo was a painter, then went to sculpting.
Yeah. So you see, yeah.
But he's known for his sculpting.
Yeah.
Very, very weird, isn't it? It's weird how it doesn't matter what stage your art is in, you'll get remembered for something that is there, the thing that is most popular with everybody.
Yeah.
What would you want to be remembered for as your popular thing? Is it your photography or your art or your? Because you create a lot of art in the past.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and I think a lot of people still remember me from that. But I don't know. I think like maybe I would want to be remembered for my photography, but also like I just really like. I think I just want people to just sort of like. I just want to maybe like challenge everyone to reconsider the way that they think about what they're thinking, the way that they they sort of like reflect on how they perceive like artworks and photographs and art in general. It's like, because like I don't know, some people sometimes they're like, oh, art is like the answer, you know, like making work is like that someone gives you like a prompt or gives you a concept and you create this artwork out of it because that's sort of like the answer to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when like really an artwork is not the answer, you know, it could just be actually a question that opens up other questions. So I feel like maybe it would be nice to be remembered as like someone who would sort of like push your limits in as in like push you to reflect a little more on like what you do, what you think when you look at artworks and why you think that. You know, like you look at a really nice painting and you're like, oh yeah, that's really nice. Why is it really nice though? Is it because of the shapes, because of the colors, because of the meaning? Like what goes on behind that? So yeah, maybe I would say photography, and I would like to write more about this sort of like concept. So maybe have some texts out there, articles or something like that. That would be nice, I think.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be remembered. Maybe I'll become an actress in the end. Who knows? Like
Why not?
anything can happen in life at this point. So you know.
It's so it's strange. I always thought I'd always be a musician. That's it. And then halfway through my life, it's like turned into art.
Yeah.
So,
but it's also, you know, you hear so many stories about people who were in the corporate world for years and then at 45 they decided to become an artist because that's what they really wanted to do, and then they became an artist and now they're like popular painters, popular photographers or something, you know. So
and I think COVID helped with that.
and yeah,
It
definitely,
really
yeah.
did.
So you know, there's still time to be anything you want. I know like people like at the like where I work at Colorfast, there we have like lots of like older ladies, I would say, that like come in and they have them paintings and maybe they get like their paintings scanned because one of them was like, oh, you have an exhibition. I was like, oh wow, that's amazing, you have an exhibition. She was like, yeah, like I started painting because I was retired and I was doing lots of like traveling, and I started painting with like amazing like places in Spain, and now like I got called from my gallery and they asked me to do an exhibition. So you know, it's like
Sweet.
wow, you were like something for your whole life and then you retired and now you're a painter.
That's cool.
And maybe you'll be remembered by that because that's what you did in the last years of your life, you know. So
Nice.
who knows?
Because it's coming to the end of the podcast now, I always kind of like to end it on something inspiring and positive. So if there was any artists out there who was like in a moment where they're struggling or kind of feel like they are at a crisis point with their art, what kind of inspiration or kind of words of wisdom would you give them to inspire them, to give them that kind of spurring moment to kind of help them on, to keep going, sort of thing?
I would say read the book The Artist's Way. Very, very helpful.
Okay.
I do not remember the author right now. It's like here at the back of my head, but I cannot remember it. Definitely read it because it talks a lot about the artist's block, and she believes that there's no artist block, that it's all just like in our mind, but we have the power to sort of like overcome that.
Right.
And gives you lots of practical advice on how to sort of like turn that into actually something quite proactive in the end. So like she talks about his morning pages. So she says like to wake up every day and just sort of like get a little piece of paper, even if it's just like one sentence, to just like write it down. And I think that writing down your thoughts, or even like recording your thoughts, like they just help a lot to just get everything that goes on in your head out of your head. Because I think that like most of the time when an artist is sort of like blocked in this sort of like bubble, like stuck in this bubble, it's the bubble is just in their head, and the only way to get out of it is to sort of like let all of everything that goes on in your bubble just out of your head. So to let it out, you sort of like need to talk it out, because sometimes people they would just like, you know, like close off and be like, oh, I can't do any work, I don't really want to talk about it, I need to just like, you know, I think about something else. But actually sometimes you have to actually face these thoughts. So maybe, you know, go out for a walk, get a voice recorder, just talk or just write. You don't need to go back and listen to it, you don't need to go back and read it, but just let it out. And I'm sure that like eventually the more you do it, the more you actually start feeling better because you have a clearer head and you have more space for positive thoughts.
Amazing.
So I would, yeah,
That's
I would
beautiful.
recommend that maybe, yeah, because positive inputs, positive outcomes. So
Amazing.
yes,
Definitely true. I feel.
very true. Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you, Ellie. I really appreciate you coming on the
Thank
show,
you so
especially
much.
and on Easter Sunday as
Yeah,
well.
happy
It's really,
Easter, everyone. It's probably you're gonna listen to this a bit later, but happy Easter, anyways. Belated Easter.
no, that's really really cool. Thank you. I really appreciate you
Thank you
coming
so
on.
much for
Really
having me.
appreciate it. See you all next time. I don't know how to end it.
Awake in my bed, a scene from my head, far from where my body rides. What peace can I find in my sleepless mind?